You are standing at the edge of a precipice, not of mountains, not of oceans, but of time itself. Every heartbeat, every breath, every fleeting second carries you forward along a path where your body changes in ways both subtle and relentless. And yet the truth, scientific, immutable, and astonishing, is that much of what we call aging is not destiny. It is biology, and biology is malleable. Your muscles, once strong pillars of motion, whisper a quiet warning as the years pass, their fibers thinning, their strength diminishing, but they are not yet defeated. They respond, they adapt, they remember the force of your will. There is one weapon hidden in the very way we nourish ourselves, one food, unassuming yet profoundly powerful, that can slow the erosion of muscle after 70 better than many of the pills, powders, and supplements that line the shelves of modern life. It is a quiet revolution happening inside every cell of your body. Muscle tissue is not static. It is a living, breathing network of fibers, mitochondria, and molecular signals, constantly building and tearing down, responding to the world and to your choices. After decades of activity or inactivity, muscle mass begins to slip, a condition known as sarcopenia. But sarcopenia is not inevitable. It is a process we can influence, one meal, one habit, one intentional act at a time. When we eat, our bodies do not simply absorb calories. They engage in an intimate conversation with nutrients, translating the molecular language of food into messages that activate sirtuins, stimulate mitochondrial biogenesis, and preserve the delicate scaffolding of our fibers. Imagine a protein-rich morsel, humble yet potent, that signals to your body, preserve strength, protect function, delay the decay. Leucine, an essential amino acid, is that signal. It is the spark that ignites mTOR pathways in a precise, controlled burst, a call to your muscles to grow, to repair, to resist the slow tide of loss that accompanies aging. Unlike synthetic supplements, which often bombard the system indiscriminately, a real natural source of leucine delivers not just the amino acids themselves, but the symphony of micronutrients, cofactors, and bioactive compounds that have evolved over millennia to orchestrate human metabolism. It is food as medicine, science as art. But we cannot speak of muscle without speaking of the orchestra of life that sustains it. Your mitochondria, the tiny engines within every cell, falter with age. Their numbers dwindle, their efficiency fades, leaving your muscles tired, inflamed, and prone to catabolism. Here is where lifestyle meets biology. Cold exposure, brief yet intense, heat stress, a fiery conversation with your cells, intermittent fasting, a disciplined rhythm that forces the body to recycle, repair, and renew. These acts are not punishment, they are communication. They tell your mitochondria, you are essential, rise, multiply, power this body. And as these tiny engines roar to life, the signals that regulate muscle preservation, insulin sensitivity, IGF-1 modulation, and mTOR activation shift toward renewal rather than decay. Exercise, too, is not merely motion. It is a message written in tension and strain, a language your muscles understand better than any supplement. Resistance, even mild after 70, floods the fibers with mechanotransduction signals, tiny molecular telegrams that trigger satellite cells to awaken, fuse, and rebuild. The synergy of this exercise with leucine-rich foods amplifies the effect. The body recognizes opportunity, responds with growth, and fights back against the erosion of years. It is not magic, it is biology, precise and deliberate. And yet, no effort, no nutrient, no regimen is complete without the master conductor of repair: sleep. Deep, restorative sleep orchestrates cellular renewal at every level. Growth hormone pulses, autophagy sweeps away damaged proteins, and NAD+ levels rise, fueling sirtuins that protect both muscle and mitochondria. In this quiet darkness, your body performs the alchemy of restoration, converting rest into resilience, decay into renewal. Every nutrient you consume, every moment you move, every night you sleep, these are not isolated acts. They are threads in a single tapestry, weaving a future in which your muscles endure, your strength persists, and your vitality refuses to yield to the calendar. Now imagine the consequence of neglect. Muscle loss accelerates, metabolism falters, bones weaken, energy dissipates. But imagine the opposite: a single scientifically validated dietary choice integrated with discipline, movement, stress adaptation, and circadian mastery. That one food, high in leucine, complete in its natural matrix, synergistic with your lifestyle, does not just feed you, it commands your cells to rise, to resist entropy, to fight the molecular clock itself. It is an anchor in the chaos of aging, a foothold in the slippery slope of sarcopenia, a declaration that your body is not merely surviving, it is thriving. The science is clear. Human trials, metabolic studies, and molecular research converge on the same truth. Adequate leucine intake, combined with resistant stimuli and proper metabolic conditioning, preserves muscle mass far better than most protein powders or supplements. And yet it is the philosophy behind it, the discipline, the intentionality that transforms data into life. Eating becomes ritual, movement becomes declaration, recovery becomes sacred. This is not about vanity or fleeting youth. It is about resilience, autonomy, and the undeniable human right to maintain strength, mobility, and dignity, even decades past what society deems the prime. The body does not respond to comfort. It responds to challenge. Stress is not an enemy. It is a language your cells understand, a signal that tells them to adapt or perish. Hormesis, the principle that small, controlled stressors strengthen the organism, is your ally in this fight against time. Brief exposures to cold water, shivering not from weakness but from choice, stimulate mitochondrial proliferation, increase brown fat activation, and enhance muscle retention. Heat, whether from sauna or purposeful exertion, triggers heat shock proteins that fold and refold the delicate molecular machinery of your fibers, preventing misfolding, preventing decay, and prolonging function. These are not random shocks, they are conversations with your biology, reminders that your body is meant to endure, to adapt, to flourish in the face of challenge. Fasting is the same conversation spoken differently. To abstain from food is to allow the body to see itself clearly, to sweep away damaged cells through autophagy, to increase insulin sensitivity, and to raise NAD+ levels that empower sirtuins to defend against molecular entropy. Every hour without nourishment is a declaration of control. You are not a passive observer of aging. You are an active participant in your own biology. When combined with leucine-rich protein intake, the cycle of fasting and feeding becomes a symphony of renewal. Catabolic pruning followed by anabolic rebuilding. Muscles do not merely survive, they strengthen. Mitochondria do not merely persist, they multiply. Exercise amplifies this rhythm, translating molecular signaling into tangible physical resilience. Resistance training after 70 is not about lifting the heaviest weights. It is about precision, about mechanical tension that awakens satellite cells, signals repair, and fortifies fibers against the attrition of decades. Aerobic exercise, too, plays a vital role, stimulating mitochondrial biogenesis and improving circulation, ensuring that nutrients, oxygen, and signaling molecules reach every fiber with efficiency and purpose. Light resistance combined with strategic protein timing and metabolic conditioning allows the body to translate intention into measurable strength. The fibers remember, the mitochondria remember. You are rewriting the narrative your cells tell themselves. Yet even strength and nutrient timing are only half of the equation. Light, both solar and artificial, shapes the rhythm of every cell. Circadian biology governs metabolism, hormone release, and repair cycles. Morning light signals cortisol to rise and awaken your system, priming your muscles and mitochondria for action. Evening darkness cues melatonin, allowing deep sleep to orchestrate autophagy and tissue repair. The body is a symphony of timing, and when you align your habits with these rhythms, you amplify every intervention, nutrition, exercise, stress adaptation, turning them into forces that truly change the trajectory of aging. Sleep itself is the master sculptor, carving strength and resilience from the clay of your cellular machinery. During deep sleep, growth hormone pulses with precision, repairing damaged fibers and promoting new ones. NAD+ surges, fueling sirtuin activity that protects DNA and maintains mitochondrial health. Autophagy, the body's molecular recycling program, clears away the detritus of cellular life, preventing inflammation, preserving muscle, and slowing the progression of sarcopenia. Missing sleep is not simply exhaustion, it is sabotage. But when sleep is prioritized, disciplined, and optimized, every habit you practice during waking hours becomes exponentially more effective. Beyond the mechanics of mitochondria, fibers, and molecules lies the human dimension, the will, the purpose, the identity that determines whether knowledge becomes action. Longevity is not merely biochemical, it is psychological, emotional, philosophical. It requires discipline, intentionality, and clarity of purpose. Each choice, to eat the protein that preserves muscle, to endure the stress that strengthens mitochondria, to move when it is easier to remain still, is a declaration. I choose strength. I choose control. I refuse to surrender my body to time without resistance. These choices, repeated day after day, compound. They do not merely slow decline, they create an entirely new trajectory, one in which your 70s and 80s are not defined by frailty, but by power, mobility, and autonomy. The food that delivers leucine is only the opening act in this symphony of cellular revival. It works because it is paired with discipline, movement, metabolic stress, light, and sleep. But even the most potent amino acid cannot replace intentional living. Aging is a disease in disguise, a slow, predictable, and preventable cascade of cellular decline. Yet within this disease lies a remarkable truth. The mechanisms of decay are responsive, pliable, and in many ways reversible. Telomeres can be preserved through stress adaptation and exercise. Mitochondria can regenerate when challenged. Muscle fibers can thicken when properly signaled. Every cell carries the memory of youth, the potential for strength, if we learn to speak its language and honor its signals. The harmony of these interventions, the food, the stress, the movement, the light, the sleep, creates a feedback loop that turns knowledge into biology. Each leucine-rich meal after fasting becomes a signal of renewal. Each cold shower, each sauna, each deliberate strain of muscle becomes a molecular conversation. I am not done. I am not surrendering. I will endure. And as the body responds, so too does the mind, internalizing the reality that longevity is not an abstract concept. It is tangible, actionable, and immediate. Your actions today ripple through your biology tomorrow, reshaping fibers, mitochondria, enzymes, and ultimately the experience of your life. And now, as the strands of biology, discipline, and intention intertwine, you begin to see the truth in its full magnitude. Longevity is not a lottery. It is a choice, a deliberate daily negotiation with the laws of nature. Every fiber of your being, every mitochondrion, every satellite cell responds to the life you lead, the stress you endure, the nutrients you provide, the rhythm you honor. The body remembers commitment, and in return, it grants resilience. Even after 70, even when the world whispers that your best years are behind you, your muscles, your strength, your vitality can persist and flourish. The science of aging tells us that sarcopenia, mitochondrial decline, oxidative stress, and chronic inflammation are not immutable facts. They are biological processes, pathways written in molecules, enzymes, and proteins. Sirtuins, those guardians of cellular longevity, can be awakened through NAD+ boosting strategies and fasting cycles. Mitochondria, the engines of energy, expand and strengthen when challenged by exercise, temperature extremes, and hormetic stress. Telomeres, the caps of DNA that shorten with each cell division, can be preserved, slowed, and in some cases lengthened by lifestyle interventions that include purpose, movement, and metabolic control. Muscle, more than strength, is the embodiment of life force. Its loss is not merely a physical decline, it is the surrender of autonomy, mobility, and confidence. And yet, science has revealed a path to reclaim it. Leucine-rich foods, complete, natural, unadulterated sources, serve as keystones in this path, activating the mTOR pathways precisely when your body requires it most, signaling repair, growth, and preservation. Paired with resistance exercise, metabolic conditioning, circadian alignment, and sleep, they transform from mere nutrition into a declaration of control. I will not yield to time. I will endure. I will thrive. But strength is not solely mechanical. It is emotional. It is the alignment of mind and body, the recognition that resilience is a habit, a philosophy, a daily commitment. The rituals of longevity, the measured stress, the fasting, the movement, the light, the nutrient timing, the sleep, become sacred acts, inscriptions upon the very architecture of yourselves. Each repetition, each choice compounds upon the last. Each action shifts your biology, slows the ticking of the clock, and preserves the vitality that many assume is lost with age. Even the challenges themselves become instruments of renewal. Cold, heat, fasting, exercise, these are not punishments, they are signals. They awaken the body's defenses, amplify mitochondrial function, preserve muscle fibers, and sharpen metabolic efficiency. You are no longer passive, you are a conductor of your biology. The very processes that the world claims are inevitable, the erosion of muscle, the fragility of strength, the fading of energy, are malleable. You can influence them, sculpt them, bend them toward your will. Purpose, identity, and intentionality accelerate this process. A life without direction, without commitment to a goal, accelerates decay, feeds inflammation, and weakens resolve. A life anchored in purpose, whether it is to walk, lift, travel, create, teach, or explore, creates an internal signaling cascade as profound as any supplement or nutrient. Cortisol balances, inflammation diminishes, muscle preservation is prioritized. The brain, the endocrine system, the immune system, all align toward resilience. Your identity becomes your armor, your motivation the fuel that transforms cellular potential into lived reality. And in this convergence, science, habit, philosophy, you arrive at the essence of longevity. It is not just to live longer, but to live better, stronger, fuller. The one food that slows muscle loss after 70 is not a magic pill. It is a catalyst, a trigger, a signal that interacts with every other choice you make. It works because it is natural, potent, and integrated into the larger symphony of habits: fasting, stress adaptation, exercise, light, sleep, and purpose. Together, they form a self-reinforcing loop, a cycle of renewal and strength that defies the narrative of inevitable decline. Imagine waking each morning not with fear of frailty, but with the confidence of a body that responds to challenge, nourishes itself intentionally, and regenerates overnight. Imagine your muscles remembering youth, mitochondria powering every movement, sleep repairing every fiber, and purpose guiding every action. This is not fantasy. This is biology. This is choice. This is control. Every day, every meal, every moment of intentional stress, every night of deep, restorative sleep compounds to write a new story, one in which aging is not surrender, but mastery. So when you stand in the kitchen and reach for that humble, leucine-rich food, understand what you are truly doing. You are speaking to yourselves in a language they understand, commanding repair, resilience, and strength. You are reinforcing a lifetime of intentionality, echoing through mitochondria, fibers, and enzymes, rewriting the narrative that your age dictates weakness. The body, ever responsive, will honor this choice. Muscle loss slows, energy rises, vitality persists, and in this act, simple yet profound. You become a participant in your own biological destiny. Every day is a battlefield, and yet every choice is a victory. You are not merely eating, sleeping, or exercising. You are sculpting time itself. Aging is not a sentence, it is a challenge, a dialogue, a landscape to be navigated with intelligence, courage, and reverence for your biology. The science is clear, the path is accessible, and the results are visible, not just in labs, studies, or trials, but in your strength, your endurance, your dignity, and the unyielding power of a body that refuses to succumb without a fight. Even after 70, you can rise, rebuild, and reclaim. Muscle can persist, vitality can endure, strength can return, and the one food, the catalyst hidden in plain sight, becomes your ally in a larger war, the war against time, entropy, and inevitability. It is not magic, it is biology made tangible. It is choice made visible. It is life, resilient, vibrant, and unstoppable. You are not aging helplessly. You are not subject to the passive erosion of years. You are an architect, a warrior, a participant in the miraculous machinery of your own body. And today, in this moment, every cell, every fiber, every mitochondrion waits for your command. Feed it, challenge it, honor it. The clock does not control you. You control the clock. You can preserve strength, delay decay, and live a life that feels limitless, because the science is on your side and your will is unshakable.